Very good evening to club president, to members, and distinguished guests. I'm Alicia Chia, and I'll be your Toastmaster of the day. And welcome everyone to the 8th meeting of Singapore Online Toastmasters Club. And the theme today is reflection or looking forward. This is indeed a very suitable theme as we have just started 2020 and most people will be in a limbo whether to reflect or to move forward. My take is you need both. You need to reflect, you need to look forward. There's a joke that says 2020, but you are never too old to reflect and look forward. Why we need to reflect is because we need to understand the past so that we can better prepare and look forward to 2020. And one word of encouragement is don't let your past failures for 2019 slow you down for 2020. I always remember this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. He says this: if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever it is, just continue moving forward. So both to me are important. That's why never slow down. And I'll hand the mic over to our dear esteemed President Willie to present his opening speech. Over to you, Willie.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Sorry, I forgot to.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, to fellow guests for all over the world, fellow Toastmasters for all over the world. 2019 have just passed 10 days ago, and most of us are still reflecting about what we did correctly, what did we do wrong, and what we did not achieve. Looking back at the online Toastmasters Club, we have learned from mistakes that we had, and we move on to be better at each meeting. We are getting better. We have already gathered audience from all over the world, be it Toastmasters Club and also non-Toastmaster. We are currently moving forward to attract all ex-Toastmasters for District 80 or for other parts of the world. But District 80 is our first focus before we move on to other countries of the world. It's not an easy job like what some of the members have encountered, the problem that I face with my old District 80, which is based in Singapore. The transition may be difficult. I mean, the journey may be difficult, but I will ensure that this club, the Singapore Online English Toastmaster Club, can reach a wider audience. We can reach out to the 5,000 Toastmasters in District 80 so that we can be a supplement to what they need speaking slot. And I hand the control of the meeting to Toastmaster of the day, Alicia.
Thank you, Club President Willie. I forgot to introduce the program. And tonight, we have a very exciting program as usual. We will start off with table topic session, the better thinking session. And this will be led by our table topic master, Jennifer Lim, aka Hot Mama. And then we will have a short break, followed by 7 speakers, including the last speaker who will be speaking on educational program. After which we'll have a short break, followed by evaluation. And then of course, some feedback and closing speech by our president. So I'm sure everybody is excited to start off the program tonight, and I'll hand it over to our table topic master, Jennifer Lim, aka Hot Mama. Over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the evening. Good evening, Club President, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. A very fabulous evening to all. The table topic session is interesting, entertaining, and challenging. It is one of the most exciting segments of a Toastmasters meeting. The purpose of table topics, as you all know, is to have participants practice thinking and speaking on their feet by answering unrehearsed questions, and to challenge you to develop your impromptu communication skills. Right now, you're going to have the opportunity to participate in this interesting segment. As tonight's theme is reflection or looking forward, I prepared a few questions relating to this. Just do your best and speak off the cuff. You have 1 to 2 minutes to speak on the topic that you choose from the list of questions that will be shared later on my computer. At 1 minute, the green card will be shown. At 1.5 minutes, the yellow card will be shown. At 2 minutes, the red card will be shown. Then once you've seen the red card, you have 30 seconds to wrap up your speech. Those who speak within time will be qualified for the best table topic speaker. Since the purpose of table topics is to have meeting participants practice thinking and speaking on their feet, I encourage everyone to come forward and speak. Okay, Willie, can you share my computer? I need to share, right?
Just tonight, everyone of us are Toastmasters, so they have to take table topic.
Okay. Really? Did you see my laptop? So I don't think we have so many members or so many people attending right now, right? Okay. Got it? Billy, I can't hear you.
Go Google Meet screen. Okay. Just now.
Can I ask Danny's hand to pick a topic?
It's the timer.
I can time myself. I'll go ahead. I'll take number 11.
Number 11.
Okay. I am looking forward to getting to do things I have never done before. All right. Madam Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am looking forward to getting things done, to do things that I've never done before. It's the brand new decade, 2020, and we have a lot of new time to get things done. And I'm looking forward to it because there's so many different things in the world. I'm retired, so I have plenty of time to do anything that I want. So I'm really interested in finding some new things to do. I think that one of the things that I'd like to do would be to do some traveling. And since I have a lot of time to travel, let me see if I get this. Okay, I'll first need to get a new car. So let's see, a new car, and maybe actually one of the things that I haven't ever done before is jet ski. So I think that's one of the first things I'll do is to buy a jet ski. And since I have a trailer hitch on the back of my car already, I can hook up my jet ski and go anywhere I want. And as you can see in the background, I have some water, and I think that looks like Lake Washington in Seattle. So that'll be quite a place to go jet skiing. Although I think I'll wait a few months because it's pretty cold up in Seattle right now. So I think that jet skiing on Lake Washington might have to wait a little while. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take the jet ski maybe south of the equator where it's summertime and much warmer. And that's what I'll do is I'll have to probably fly my jet ski down there now because it's too far to drive down through the Panama Canal and all that stuff. So boy, I'm going to need to do a lot of things. My list gets longer and longer, so I don't know if I'll ever get all of my things done, but I'll be looking forward to trying to do something different. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you. Okay, next. Really, what happened to my computer? My laptop sharing. Really?
Share your screen again.
I got to share again. Okay, just now, question 11 already picked. Have you gone over my laptop, Billy? Really, I already shared. Why is 20 is not fixed? Okay.
Okay. I have Toastmaster Miko.
Miko. Miko, pick a question.
Me?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't hear. Sorry, thank you. So may I choose table topics 4?
Looking back gives you regret. Looking ahead gives you opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Table topics master. Looking back gives me regret. Looking ahead gives me opportunities. I think it is a very right words to me because something happens. My character, I always tend to regret something, and I should have done something. I should have done this that way. After that, I'm always thinking about that. However, sometimes I stop thinking, thinking and regretting, and try to go forward. That kind of things gave me an opportunity. One thing is a Toastmasters Club, I think, because after joining the Toastmasters Club, uh, for some time I try not to say no to any opportunities. For example, if VPE asks me to take this role, I try to say it's okay. I try to do that. Would you take the role of speaker next month? Okay, I will do that. That kind of things happen to me, and accepting this kind of assignment gives me opportunity to go forward. So for me, looking ahead and try to accept something I can challenge gives me a great opportunity. Thank you. That's it. Table topics master.
Thank you. How do I go back there again, Lily? Do I need to share again? Wow. So every time I need to share and approve. I've already shared. How about Alicia?
Okay. I'd like to pick just now I saw one happiness.
I don't know which question you have to just speak.
Table topic contest coming.
Yeah. I will pick number 13.
The chapters of your life in 2019 are good, bad, or both. Looking forward, which chapter would you like to improve and which would you rather forget?
Okay. A very good evening to Toastmaster, Table Topic Master, Club President, distinguished members, and guests. The topic I picked, the chapters of your life in 2019 are good, bad, or both. Looking forward, which chapter would you like to improve and what would you rather forget? Right, for me, 2019 was a so-so year. There were good, bad, and everything in it.
I'm having meeting.
Looking forward, I would like to do is not to forget the bad. I would like to improve the bad to better, the good to even better, so that I can have a better 2020. As I mentioned earlier in my introduction, the past year is there for you to reflect. It's not to pull you down. Use those past lessons to bring you forward to the future. And if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. So everything, whether good or bad, has a lesson in it. When it's bad, to me last year, it wasn't that bad, but certain things were not so good. The bad things were the people. It was people created creations. So all I need to do is to learn from there, face up to it, improve the communication, because people do not start off with bad intentions. They probably had bad day. So they transfer their anger to you. And so with this in mind, let us not have 2019 tie you up, but be happy to take the lessons from 2019 and move forward. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you. The book. Okay, I have to share again, huh? Why is it like that?
You want to capture the speaker. Sorry, Toastmaster can't wait a while. Okay.
Do we need to always do that?
Yes, we have to, because or else the slide will be shown, the speaker will not be shown.
Oh, okay. Okay, now we have Angela. Is Angela there? She's gone.
No, Toastmaster Tanu.
Okay, Tanu. Can you pick a question, Tanu?
Okay, I will have the topic number 19.
When you look into the past, what do you miss the most?
When I look into the past, what do I miss the most? Wow, wonderful. I never think about it. But today I have to. I think it's a good idea to look into the past, but not to find something bad. Find something, the learning lesson, and find something that we missed. Yes, I miss something. I believe I miss something that is so important. I miss what I should have done to say some nice thing to people near me. I always be very nice, very good to other people, to friends, to co-worker or to members. But sometimes I forgot to say something good for my family members. My wife, my daughter, except my dog. I always say good thing to my dogs. You know why? Because every time I came back home, even if in the past or now, my dogs are always welcoming me, always. But sometimes your family members, your wife, my wife, forget to do that either. But it's not the reason why should I say something good to people around me. I thought that I took it for granted and I missed that thing. I will not do it again in 2020. I should have done something. I should do something better in this year. So I think that is something very simple, but we always miss something like this in life. And we learn a lot from little things like this. I will not do it again. I will do something good for my family member, people around me, as good as the people outside my circle. So thank you for this question. It reminds me of something we miss. I miss. Back to you, our topic master.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Next, Angela. Before I do that, I think I need to share again. Really?
May I have topic 5, please?
Please. Okay. Topic 5. Happiness is looking forward to something.
Yes, happiness is looking forward to something, definitely. You often read about somebody who is suspected of committing suicide, that they couldn't have committed suicide because there was something they were looking forward to, a holiday or a big event. Because everybody agrees that if you've got something to look forward to, you want to go on living, you're waiting for it, you're expecting it, you're excited. I usually have a holiday planned. I often have a meal planned. I have various holidays in the UK. I go to a writer's holiday in Wales in February, and I go to another writer's summer school in Derbyshire in August. And the thing I'm not doing, which I always want to do, is to go to the Edinburgh Festival, but I've done it as a spectator. I'd like to go back as a stand-up comedian. What else am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to learning to play the ukulele. I understand you can learn it in 2 hours, but I never seem to find the 2 hours at the same time that the people teaching have got the 2 hours. So I need to concentrate on that so that I can come back and maybe teach you the ukulele, because if it can be done in 2 hours, we could do it on Skype or Zoom, and then I could teach everybody to play the ukulele. Then we could all be strumming together and opening online meeting with a few bars. We could even create our own song. What else? Holidays. Well, I know there are some Toastmasters groups that go on holiday together. There are at least 2 groups that do that. And we have a wonderful opportunity to do what Esperanto does. Esperanto has an arrangement whereby everybody can go to another member's home, by arrangement, of course, for 3 days to practice speaking Esperanto to the host. So perhaps all of us could offer 3 days to any visitor from our group from anywhere else in the world. Hope to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Really, I'm sharing my laptop again. Okay. Okay. What about Moira? Pick a topic.
Number 9.
Our language is the reflection of ourselves.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. What an interesting question. Our language is the reflection of ourselves. Now, I take this to mean not our language as in nationality,
No.
but our language as in the way that we use our language.
Yes.
And of course, the way that we use our language is very important, because whilst much communication is non-verbal, the verbal part of our communication is of great importance. The way that we present ourselves in language does reflect very much what is inside us, because our brain subconsciously controls what we do. I know for myself, I have a very dangerous habit of putting foot in mouth, not engaging brain before opening mouth. And that reflects something of my personality, because I'm fairly impetuous. I tend to do things maybe without thinking through properly. So yes, I think the answer to your question, Madam Table Topics Master, is that language definitely is a reflection of ourselves and of our personality. And I think it's quite interesting that this is the case, and it's something that if we become more aware of it, then we will be better people. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Lily. How about Paul? Wait, hold on. Let me go back to the. Okay, Paul.
Okay, I love table topic number 1 when I last saw it. So would I have that one, please?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you, Madam Table Topics Leader, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you have to take a step back to see that you are moving forward in the right direction. Now, a variant on this theme is the negative variant on this theme is going 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. However, the quote that we've seen there is really more the positive interpretation, and I'd like to take that positive interpretation a little bit further this evening. Now, there are other quotable quotes that I think are important here. So, for example, the classic of Lord Acton is if we do not remember history, we're condemned to repeat it. The person who's created this quote provides us with a life lesson that we can all take on board, and that is, it is important to move forward and to keep progressing, because to keep progressing as individuals and collectively, we ultimately improve ourselves. At the same time, rather like taking a journey, it is often important to take a step back, to stop, or to take a step back, to have a look at the map, the map of life, or the map if we're on a journey, to see exactly where we're going. Now, this is, I think, a lost skill given the rise of Google Maps and programs such as TomTom and Garmin, but it is, I believe, still a very essential life skill, because it provides us with the opportunity to to pause, to reflect, to consider, are we still going in the right direction, or have our values or beliefs changed and perhaps we should be taking a different direction? This is particularly important if we're coming to a fork in the road, so a major decision. So ladies and gentlemen, when considering moving forward, while moving forward is still very important, it is just as important to every so often to stop, take a breather and decide, is this still the right way to go? And if so, move forward, or to take a different direction. Madam Table Topics Leader.
Thank you. Really?
Okay. Thank you, Table Topic Master. Can you hand the control back to the Q&A of the day? For voting? Yeah.
So no more questions, right?
Yeah, everyone already answered it. We have almost everyone.
So how I stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. Back to you, table Toastmasters of the evening.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Jennifer Lim, for engaging us in the theme of the night for this meeting. Toastmaster DTM Dennis Ham has given us all the timings, and I believe everyone is in time, right? On time? Dennis?
Yes, everybody is within time.
That's excellent. So let's all start. Let's all put in our vote for the best table topic speaker.
How do you do that?
You click on the circle of your chosen person.
Still waiting for 3 persons to vote. But I can see a clear leader. Okay, I'm very pleased to, can I announce the winner? Oh, great, great. I'm very pleased to announce the winner of the table topic for this evening. The best speaker for table topic, let's give a, okay, the best speaker is none other than DTM Moira. Let's give her a round of applause. Then we have second, we have a tie. Myself, Angela, and Paul. So we give ourselves a pat on the back. Good job, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the table topic. And we will go for a short 10-minute break. I'm looking at the time now, it's 9:42 p.m. in Singapore time. So we'll be back at 9:52 p.m. All right.
Okay.
We'll see you later. Thank you, everyone. But welcome back, everyone, to our second segment of our program tonight. And the second segment is the prepared speech segment, which we will see better speaking section. We have quite a few speakers, and the first speaker is Toastmaster Paul Mooney. Paul comes from Queanbeyan, New South Wales. Hi, welcome back, everyone, to our Singapore Online Toastmasters Club meeting. And we are now into our second segment of the program, which is the prepared speech segment, or rather, I would like to call this better speaking segment. And our first speaker is Toastmaster Paul Mooney. He comes from Queanbeyan, North South Wales, Australia. And he has been a Toastmaster since June 1990. Toastmaster Paul will be delivering his icebreaker speech with a title called Comedic Inspirations. And this is from the Engaging Humor Pathway Manual. So can we have his evaluator, Toastmaster Hiren, to present to us the purpose statement. Toastmaster Hiren, over to you.
Yes. So a very warm welcome to fellow Toastmasters and specifically Paul. Paul, your purpose statement for this project is for you to introduce to members, yourself as learn the basic structure of a public speech. That's the purpose statement that Pathway provides, which I'm reading verbatim from the Pathway evaluation sheet. So I wish you all the best and take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Evaluator, Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen. Comedy and comedic inspirations has been a very large part of my Toastmasters career, sometimes for good, sometimes for not so good. And in fact, in the extremist cases, I've even been banned from telling jokes in 1 or 2 divisions, and in fact once in an entire district, but that's another story. My speech this evening is to introduce myself in the context of what are my comedic inspirations? What has, I suppose, shaped my sense of humour, and perhaps in turn how I've tried to apply that both to humorous speaking and to administration, because currently we live in an environment where humour and comedy are in fact under challenge from the tornado of political correctness, an environment in which ideas go in and they get twisted, they get turned, and then they get spat out the funnel at the other end. And in that, and in such an environment, I'm concerned about potentially the loss of the ability to use comedy as a public speaking tool. So let's start by introducing what have been my comedic inspirations. Now, I was born in the late 1960s, but I don't really remember the first couple of years. And as I think it was someone said at the time, if you remember the 1960s, you must not really have been there. So my inspirations actually start in the 1970s. In Australia at that time, our comedy came from various sources. We got a lot of material from the United States, we had a lot of material from the United Kingdom, and we even had Australian material. I must admit, I'm not a fan of Australian comedy from the 1970s because it is perhaps a little bit too crude for my personal liking. However, that's not to ignore the fact that people did actually enjoy it. I felt, on the other hand, that perhaps the best comedic inspiration for me came about in the 1980s. Some of you perhaps may remember TV shows such as Yes Minister, followed by Yes Prime Minister, and shows like Blackadder. These are classic United Kingdom comedies. And the reason I pick on the United Kingdom in particular is because one of my earliest evaluations in Toastmasters came from a member who compared my style of humour to Ronnie Barker and to other British comedians. And perhaps the British part is perhaps is the most influential for me because of the use of things such as concepts like playing on words, the double entendre. Now, the double entendre is sometimes positive, it can sometimes be negative. So the idea of a double commentary with a double meaning, the importance of timing without necessarily the slapstick that you'd experience in, say, US or Canadian type comedy from the 1970s and 80s. Now, in the case of Yes Minister, that's probably a particular inspiration, not only for humorous speaking, but I also, in fact, joined the civil service once I finished university, originally at state level and allegedly at Commonwealth. And I still argue that while things have changed in the last 30 years, it is still an inspirational tool. In the 1990s, I've picked up, and onwards, I picked up a little bit of extra humour. One of my trips to Singapore many, many years ago, I was introduced to the humour of Catherine Lim, who had just written Oh Singapore at the time that I was in the country. I think it was about 1989, and that I think had a little bit of inspiration. That had a little bit of inspiration as well as an area and division governor back in the 1990s. I used humour as a tool for conveying information, to encourage listening and understanding. And some of the things I used were, for example, using the play on words. Now, play on words is a little bit risky because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Now, in the circumstances where it doesn't, the rule of thumb here is in fact to pick yourself up and just keep going, just to keep moving forward, which I think is also the theme of our meeting this evening, to keep moving forward, even in circumstances where it may be very difficult. Another tool that I've learned, I think, from British comedians in particular, was the appropriate use of timing, and that's choosing the right time to provide a joke. Because if you start a joke at a particular point in time, and you make that witty comment at a particular point in time, it needs to be immediate, because if you miss the opportunity, if you fail to act at the right time, then you actually miss the opportunity to have maximum humorous effect. One of the challenges, though, I find in humorous speaking and in the use of jokes is to try and avoid forced humour, and which is a bit of an issue, I think, particularly you see it sometimes in American and Canadian comedy, that there can be a little bit too much forcing of the humour, which to me is not a particularly effective tool for it. It means the humour stops being a particularly effective tool. So what were the implications? As an area and division governor, I found the use of humour, as I said, was a way of trying to firstly check to make sure people were staying awake during presentations. Sometimes it worked and sometimes it doesn't. In that situation, a groan could be just as useful a tool as a laugh. Secondly, it encouraged me to try and develop thinking on my feet skills, being able to create the right joke for the right circumstances. And then there was also the challenge of trying to find the right joke for the right audience. Now, why would I use humour? What is the importance of using humour? Now, perhaps in the workplace and in the Toastmasters environment, I take the view sometimes if you can't laugh, you could cry. And the reason for saying that is because sometimes we can work in difficult environments, and humour provides an opportunity to create a stopgap or a pause before we decide to move on to the next path. So, ladies and gentlemen, noting that time is just coming to an end, this is an attempt at a very quick introduction to my comedic inspirations through the 70s and 80s, and a very quick introduction on how I've tried to apply comedic inspirations, particularly in my Toastmasters career and in humorous speaking. So thank you, thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Paul, for the interesting speech on comedic inspirations. For me, I've also enjoyed comedy. I remember the British comedy Mind Your Language. It was very funny. And Singapore, we also have our own wide range of comedy series. If I'm not mistaken, we have one around regarding civil service or MP. I forgot what's the title. Anyone can help me?
If someone could put it into the chat, that would be interesting to watch.
I think it's Meet the MP. Is it something like that?
Okay.
But they had very silly jokes. So anyway, good job on your speech. Let's have the next speaker. The next speaker will be Toastmaster Willie Low. And Willie Low is currently president of two clubs. He's the club president for Fuzhou Toastmaster Club in Singapore, as well as Singapore Online Toastmaster Club. And he's also a very good, knowledgeable person in terms of Facebook, website managing, etc., etc. He's the man to look for if you need any help on online. So without much ado, Willie will be speaking on, just give me a minute. Toastmaster Willie is speaking on, his topic is from the Visionary Communication, Level 1, topic Project 4, and his title is, Are we having too many Toastmasters in one HDB towns in Singapore? So let us have his evaluator, Toastmaster Panos, to share with us the purpose statement. Toastmaster Panos, over to you.
Yes, Toastmaster of the evening. This is the visionary communication path and the speech number 4, project number 4. So only one more to complete level 1, I believe. And this is about research and presenting. Research and present an unfamiliar topic. Organize the speech clearly to maximize audience understanding. Craft clear and engaging transitions between main segments. Use and cite sources to support speech content. Make source list. So that is the purpose of the speech. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Willie. Back to you.
let me start my first step. Okay, this table show that the different type of Toastmaster Club in Singapore: Association Club, Community Club, and Interest Club. And region, it shows that, okay, in every country, we always have a central region, a eastern region, a north region, northeast region, and a western region. Although Singapore is just a dot in the world map, but we already got such a region defined because we have close to 5 to 6 million residents or people staying in Singapore. So you can see for the slide, it seems like the biggest Toastmaster Club that is heavy is in the central area, and the north area they have only very few Toastmaster Club. Why is it so? It's because in the central area there's a lot of people attending Toastmaster Club after meeting straight up for that. It's like working distance or be their schedule, they can attend a Toastmaster Club meeting. And you can see that the area that is have less Toastmaster Club is in the north. The reason is because people are so tired. By the time they reach their place, they are too tired to attend Toastmaster Club meeting. I don't know what's the reason, but throughout my research, I have identified a lot of factors. Okay, towards my end of report, I will tell you what are the factors that I have looked into it. Let us go to the next slide. Okay, let me go to tell you, if I sort by region, what is the top city that is a Toastmaster? I mean that have the top town. In Singapore, we call it HCB town, is where people stay. In Europe and somewhere in Australia and the US, we call it suburbs. For Thailand, it's also called a city area, suburbs. So okay, so all this town is considered suburb of Singapore. Okay, it seems like the central area, you still have the biggest, the number of Toastmaster Club in that area. That is close to 27. 11 means is held in committee, is open to the committee. At 60 is based on interest group like YMCA, like some association like Emirates Catholic that is dedicated to Toastmasters who are Catholic. Okay, let us go to the next, to the eastern part of Singapore, Tampines town. There's only 7 Toastmaster Club in that area, and there's only 1 interest club. And out of this, so this will tell you that which area have the biggest, which town have the biggest Toastmaster Club. So far, Tampines as a rule have 7 Toastmaster Club, actually 8 to 9 Toastmaster in here. And for Jurong area, Jurong West is actually Jurong West consists of Jurong is okay, Jurong West is part of Jurong. But this is because the area is in the west, so we call it Jurong West. So this area we got 7 Toastmaster Club. Okay, let us go to the next slide. Let us sort the town by leverage of the Toastmaster Club. I mean the leverage that the Toastmaster Club want to attract. Okay, you can see the city area. There's 2 bilingual club. That's for English, India, and English Malay. And there are 70 Toastmaster, English Toastmaster Club in town. There's only 1 French Toastmaster that is catered to the French community. There's 4 Mandarin Club and 3 Tamil Club. Okay, you can see that in Tampines, there's 5 English Toastmaster Club. Is it too much? I don't know. There's 2 Mandarin Club and there's only 1 Tamil Club. And in issue, the third row, there's 4 English Toastmaster Club and 2 Mandarin Club, but there's no Tamil or Teochew. Teochew is a dialect we use for Chinese in Singapore and Hokkien as well. So for Serangoon, we have 5 English club in that area. there's 3 Mandarin club and 1 JQ. In total, there's 8 Toastmaster club in that area. So Jurong West, you have 5 English club and you have 1 Mandarin and 10 Indian Tamil club. Tamil means Indian club. So are we having too many Toastmaster club based on language in each area? I can sadly to say that yes, there's too many English club than the other language, because Singapore is a multi-country, multicultural society where you have people for all nationality. So let us go to the next slide. Okay, let us go to sort by town in a different view. You can see that the total club per area will show you that we all have so many clubs, and rightfully it's best to have a different language so that we can cater to different audience. Where there's too many English club, the Chinese will be, I mean the Mandarin club will, people who are Chinese will feel neglected because they want to speak but they have no club there. You can see that the Tamil club, there's no club in issue at Jurong West. Where are the clubs? So there's no clear distribution of language Toastmaster club in Singapore. Even there is too many, but the main concern is the language that they should attract the audience, the Singaporean, than other audience. Okay. In summary, my report is based on the following. We have too many Toastmaster clubs set up in each town. There should be a balance of Toastmaster club with different language, as Singapore is multicultural society. English, Mandarin, Malay, Indian, plus other nationality. Suggestion that for future, for those people who are for Toastmasters who want to start a new club, it's best to set up based on environment factor, availability of venue, time slot, and what you want to achieve, because this will allow the spread of attracting new member, or there will be a balance of languages of Toastmaster club in Singapore. And I end my speech by saying that just try to plan it before you start a new club. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Club President Willie, for that very well-researched speech on Toastmaster clubs in Singapore. Now we have the next speaker, Toastmaster Hiren, who is now currently residing in the UK. And he's very concentrated on completing his advanced Toastmaster manual. For today, Hiren will be speaking on Hiren, which manual will you be touching on?
It's the Persuasive Skills Manual, and and the name of the topic is Veganuary.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Hiren.
That's why the we behind me. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Very cool. Okay. Hiren's speech title is Veganuary from the Persuasive Manual. So let's have his evaluator. Willie, who is his evaluator?
Angela.
Oh, okay.
Angela. Yeah.
Let us have Toastmaster Angela to share with us the project objectives. Over to you, Angela.
Hello, I haven't been sent the project objectives, so perhaps the speaker could read them out. I can't hear the speaker.
Yeah, just give me just give me 2 minutes. I think it's because of the change and all of that, because I sent this morning to my evaluator, but give me 2 minutes and I'll pull this up.
Oh.
All right. Do you want me to say it out loud or?
Yes,
show
please.
it?
That would be quicker.
Yeah, that would be quicker. So let me just share the document to everybody. I hope you're able to see the document.
Ah,
Yes.
yes.
As they say, the objective is to prepare a talk on a controversial subject that persuades an audience to accept or at least consider your viewpoint. Construct the speech to appeal to the audience logic and emotions. The time is 7 to 9 minutes for the speech, followed by a 2-3 minutes of Q&A for the period. So that's what I'm going to speak at. So I will now take back the control and share my presentation. Just give me a minute before I start. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah, all right, okay. Just give me a moment, yeah, just 1 minute. I just want to set things up rightly because like last time, not all right, let me now begin. Let me just get to the timer's view, just 1 minute. Yeah, all right. Okay, I begin my quote by quoting this famous person on the screen who needs no introduction. And he said that nothing will benefit human health and increase the chances of survival for life on Earth as much as the evolution of vegetarian diet. This was that famous quote that led me to my topic of the evening. So Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. My topic for today is Veganuary, or which is nothing but being vegetarian in January. But if you're very brave, then being a vegan in January. So that's the topic that I want to, quite a controversial topic because not everyone believes in that. So that's the topic that I want to start my talk on. And when we talk about vegetarian food, a whole lot of controversies erupt. People say, is it healthy? Does it give proteins? Does it give the relevant amount of carbs? Is it carb-free diet? Does it give me the necessary protein and nourishment that non-vegetarian food would give? So a whole lot of controversies erupt up and lot of objections and debate around the world. However, I would like to begin saying with a short little health quiz, which says that and some of the questions that I would like this esteemed audience to reflect on, which is how often do you visit the doctor? How much energy do you have? Have you tried going for a hike? Does your body digest the intakes you take? Do you have the right amount of weight? Do you feel healthy at all times? And do you want that extra craving of confidence that you are feeling healthy? Now, if the answer to some of the questions you're not sure of or you're unsure, then the last question, which is, can vegetarian diet help you to be healthy? So I don't want the answers yet, but approximately, what I would like you to think is that, just rethink that, can a little bit of vegetarian diet really help you, when you look at being vegetarian in the month? Now, again, a lot of controversies arise when people say that, how about environment? How about going green? How about, looking at environmental conscious? So the question again that arises is that, can vegetarianism or can going vegan help you to contribute to the environment? And I'm sure everyone has that being green or being contributory to the environment in their goals that you have kept all the times. So the question again is that, would vegetarianism really help you? If you see this picture, what it clearly denotes is that, imagine a situation that you are crammed into a lift, and those living in Singapore would be very much aware that, we have people who are stocked up in lifts, or, even while traveling on our MRT, which, I often face that people rush in for the lifts to avoid the escalators. And then there are 10 people in the lifts, and, you are stuffed in, and then you say, no more, let the lift doors close, and you want to go up to the platform level. So again, imagine the case where, the cattle or the chicken are being stuffed into a container room, and then they're carried, and some of them really die of the exhaustion and the lack of oxygen because they're just crammed into the small box, and they are carried from one place to another. And so is the case with fishes as well, because, when we have thousands of fish from organized fishing that happen in the deep sea, where they are stocked in and brought on the shore, and some of them really die of the lack of oxygen, and you don't have the fresh meat or the fresh the fresh fish that available, because it is stinking because of the lack of too many or too much in a short spare of time. Now the question again of the team here is that, if you really care about life, how about the living beings as well? Just look at your favorite sushi, or it has a slice of so many fishes that are cut or that die in, or a chicken that has come in, and you imagine that your favorite pet being cut or sliced before you eat. Now, if that is what you all care about, then how does being vegetarian or becoming a vegetarian really help you? And every day thousands of animals and and fishes get killed. They get sliced under the hammer and into the kitchen, just for serving our favorite recipe that we are always happy to eat. So again, the question to the panel here is that, are we really looking at such kind of environment or such kind of place where our favorite animals get sliced and diced under the knife, and we enjoy this eating, and then creating a very colorful dish that you can see on the front end. So what the pain that animals go through when they're sliced and diced behind the knife, it does not guarantee the pain that you see in the dish color that comes out, or the juicy chicken sandwich that is served at McDonald's or at Burger King. So again, that is one of the area that I would like to cover. So again, summing up, what we're saying is that the next time you go to a restaurant, just flip through that pages which has non-vegetarian and look behind. You will soon find, you will also have a vegetarian option. My suggestion to this people or to the team out here is that, when you're looking at a non-vegetarian dish next time, or a non-vegetarian menu next time, can you just flip through or shun this non-vegetarian part and look at the vegetarian options, and at least consider a choice of at least going in vegetarian and looking at things that can make that vegetarian dish come alive, and get you to look at things that will help you consider an option of being a vegetarian. what I want you to do now is I want to do a small exercise, and if everyone can get on the camera, I'm sure most of you are, but if you can get, you know, in front of your camera, or just switch on the camera. And if you support this idea, all I want to do is that if there are, you know, 10 people out here, I want to just move a resolution that if you support this idea of at least considering to be a vegetarian in one of your diet. I'm not saying full day's meal. I'm not saying full month's meal. But for January, if you can shun that one place where you're going to have non-veg and try and do a vegetarian diet. So if you can just put in a V, you know, in front of a camera, if you're supporting this resolution, then, you know, I will get a count. So let's have a show of hands of people who would say that I would shun one of my diet, either a breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and go V. So if you're supporting that, let's just, you know, do a V for vegetarianism. Well, thank you very much for all those who've supported. It just motivates me that, you know, some of the things that I presented is of receptivity to people. I now go to the second part of my topic, which is opening to questions. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take in argument of what I've delivered today. Any questions on the chat panel, or you can just open up the speaker and talk. Any objections to what you feel? When there is complete silence, and I say this with my Toastmasters speech as well, that when there's complete silence, there's two things: either people have understood or nothing is being understood. So,
just one question, maybe it's quite personal, but
yeah.
I would like to know: are you born a vegetarian, or you changed to vegetarian later on?
So I was born vegetarian. I then, because of my youth, where you want to break free, etc., I tried a lot of non-vegetarian. I was in Singapore, so, you know, I really like the Singaporean foods and chicken rice. But then, you know, then I've now, you know, converted back to vegetarian, saying that, you know, stick back.
Right.
So it's not January's resolution, but for many years I've been now a vegetarian. All right. If there are no questions, I pass it back to you, Toastmaster, today.
Thank you, Hiran, for giving us such an informational speech on vegetarian. For me, I know my body system should be going for vegetarian. However, I've grown in a country or a home where we eat lots of meat, pork, beef, whatnot. But I'm pretty convinced on your vegetarian speech. So what I'll do for health's sake is I will go vegetarian for breakfast, because it fits nicely into my schedule, because I will be going for my morning runs in the morning. So a good vegetarian breakfast will help me in my healthy 2020 goals. Now let's move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker will be Toastmaster Angela Lansbury. We are moving Angela's speech forward because there are some changes. Some speakers are not here yet. And so Toastmaster Angela is an area director for Singapore, for her Singapore club. And I understand Angela loves to blog as well. Today she will be delivering her speech from the Successful Club series. And the first topic, and the title of her topic is Moments of Truth. For her, there will be a round robin evaluation. So I will not be having the evaluator to touch on the project objectives, and we'll just hand it over to Toastmaster Angela
Before Angela speaks, can we get her to change the position of her screen? She's way too close.
Yeah, you are too close for comfort, Angela.
Angela, you need to move back. Move back from the screen. Move back from the screen. You are too close to the screen. Move backwards. Lean backwards.
See your lips.
You look at the position that we are in. You move back some more.
Hello?
Try to move back a bit more.
Okay, slightly more. Okay.
I don't understand because I was far away at the beginning.
You are too grainy now.
I think your camera has somehow zoomed.
Ah, because at the beginning of the broadcast, I was seeing myself much smaller than this.
You try to set your camera to unzoom because you are too close and you are very grainy.
So how do I unzoom it?
This one I have no idea, sir. Anybody to assist?
You are ready.
What you have an external camera, or is it the camera on your
Camera
laptop?
is on my laptop. I'm looking at my laptop now.
And it's the internal camera on your laptop.
Yes.
And what laptop is it? Is it an Apple or a
No, it's a ThinkPad.
Windows? Oh, that okay. I'm out
Okay.
then. I'm Apple.
Try to move your ThinkPad further back. I'm also using a ThinkPad. Okay, go.
On the other side of the room. Right. My next technical issue is I've got the slides on my right-hand screen and I don't know how to show them to you.
Below there's a share screen button. Button.
Where is that?
On the top of your screen, you should see a share screen. Oh no, the bottom of your screen, there's a green up arrow.
Oh, yes.
Click on that.
Yes.
And then you should be able to see all the open windows.
Can you see that one now?
Yes, we can see.
Oh,
Yep.
excellent. The trouble is I'm sitting so far away, I'm not near enough to move the slides because I'm now the other side of the room. Shall I call some technical help?
I think, yeah, because
Okay, let me have control of your PC.
Your camera. You have somehow zoomed your camera. There must be, if you go into your preferences, your settings for the computer, and go into the video settings.
I think I'll go and I'll have to get some help. Just a moment.
No, Angela, no need. You give me your control of your desktop.
Right, I'm now leaning forward. Look, I've got two screens. One is obviously the one I'm looking at, and the other one has got the Successful Club series slides on it. If I go back into grid view, it still makes no difference.
Let Willie control your computer and he will sort you out.
Yes, how do I do that?
I think Willie has to.
I just click on approve.
Yes.
Right.
I think you need to go into preferences, Willie. The settings.
Angela, you speak, I control. I will help you control your screen.
Well, the Successful Club series is up successfully, but I'm still...
Angela, you just sit back and do your switch. I will control your computer.
It's not solving her
Can
problem.
I sit back over here?
It's much better, Willie, to solve the problem with her video, which she's obviously clicked something which has changed her zoom on her video.
Just speak, just speak.
All right, okay. Today I'm going to talk to you about Moments of Truth. It's from the Successful Club series, which is a series of presentations to help you improve the quality of your meetings. And basically, Moments of Truth gives you a series of questions to work out what it is your club is doing well and what you could do to improve. Move on to the next slide, Willie. Now, a moment of truth, it sounds quite scary, but it's simply a question of first impressions. What happens when you have a visitor coming into your club? Because the two questions are, a visitor comes into your club, do they want to come back and do they want to join your club? Do they get a good impression? We go on to the next slide, please. Now, first impressions is what they look at. Then there's how they are given orientation, how they get to know who's who and what goes on in the club. Then after that, we get fellowship, variety. In fellowship, you could be arranging events outside the meeting, or you could get people talking to each other. One of the best examples of fellowship I saw was at a club where we were asked to all go out to somebody else, talk to them, and after the break come back and introduce them to everybody else in the club, say what we'd learned about them, say 3 new things we learned. And apart from telling everybody else in the club about them, we really got to know somebody during the break, instead of going to the toilet, eating the food, wandering around, chatting to other committee members. So that was very successful. But the question is, what are your first impressions for the visitor? Membership strength really often depends on whether you fulfilled all the other criteria. For example, the program planning and meeting organization, and recognizing the achievements of people so that they feel welcomed in the club and feel that they're making progress and feel successful and happy and really look forward to coming to the next meeting. Move on to the next slide, please. One of the things I think is important is to have a welcome desk, so that the person walking in through the door doesn't just walk around the room or sit down and wait for everything to happen. It's very nice to be given a badge with your name on it, asked how you pronounce your name, asked if you want to do a table topic. And if you're smart, what you can do, I used to be the meter and greeter at a club in London, and not only did I have a column with the tick boxes to say whether the person wanted to give do a table topic, I could then pass that to Toastmaster of the day or the topic master, who could then see the spelling of the names of the people. And people also had badges, so the Toastmaster of the day and the topics master, instead of saying you at the back or the lady in the red, could actually pick on the person and call them by name, and that would make them feel wanted. And again, going round at the end when you ask them for their feedback, you can see their name on their front, you can go up and speak to them in the interval and address them by name. And equally importantly, they can see your name, so they know who is the president and what your name is. Then meeting the speaker's needs is another important point, because very often the speaker turns up and there's a dreadful delay, as we had with me today, where the slides can't be set up and so on. And in a physical room, you need to have the computers set up and to have the right connectors. And there are about 3 connectors, and you can take photos of them and send them to the speaker and ask if they want a flip chart. And some clubs have everything set up. The SAA, the Sergeant at Arms, who is the person who arranges the room, automatically sets the room up with a flip chart, not waiting to be asked if somebody needs it, but just having it always there in case the program has changed or somebody suddenly decides their slides won't show, or there's a change of speaker, and it would be a good idea to use it. Now, guests being invited to address the club, usually this is done, they can be asked to speak at 3 points in the meeting. First, when you go around the room and introduce yourself. Secondly, when there are topics. And thirdly, when they're asked to say what they thought of the meeting and would they be interested in joining. And if they say no, that's because I live abroad or I'm doing exams, but I might later in the year, you get some actual feedback so you know why it is they haven't joined and whether they might join and how to follow them up. The other thing about them addressing the club is you don't have to wait for them to speak in a table topic. You got them to stand up right at the beginning, so they've made that initial step of speaking. Then when it comes to topics, you can arrange for them to have a topic that suits them. If you've chatted to them on the meet and greet desk in the beginning and you've discovered that they've got lots of children or that they play football, you can arrange a topic about football or about how to bring up your children or how to manage children if children squabble. So you can have a topic that they immediately think they know about and want to tell you about, which will make them far more inclined to speak. But then, of course, inviting them to join at the end, this is the call to action, which is very often missed. And I've noticed that the bigger, more successful clubs make a call to action right the way through. And it's quite helpful to tell somebody how much it costs, because often the guests will be afraid to ask. They'll think it'll be too expensive, or they won't know whether they could pay cash. And you can make it clear to them. You could have the treasurer do that or somebody else. What else can we do? Formal inductions. This is to make them feel important. We seem to be spinning awfully fast. Giving them a pin, giving them a manual, and if there's no manual, maybe printing things off so they've got something to take away. The other thing you can have on the welcome desk is a copy of the Toastmasters magazine, so that even before they've signed up, they've got something to look at. Now, speaking roles. Clubs vary about this. Do you assign a new member a speaking role at the next meeting? It should be automatic. You should say, as soon as you join the club, you will be given a mentor and a speaking slot at the next meeting. We will help you to do it. We will meet you and rehearse it a week in advance so that when you come to do it, you're well prepared. Something I've seen Marshall do, which is absolutely wonderful, is to call a prospective member up to act in a pair as Toastmaster of the day. And you can do that with all sorts of roles. You can have somebody sitting next to the timer. You can have somebody sitting next to the evaluator and showing how they fill in the sheet. You can have somebody, you could even ask a new member to listen to you rehearse your speech and to give you a comment on it and to ask if they can be heard. Now, getting the members involved in club activities, there are all sorts of ways you can do this. There are some clubs that have a meeting every week for a lunch together. No particular agenda, just to meet. Other clubs meet up for a drink after the meeting. It all depends how your meetings are scheduled and how much time people have got. But now we have something new here. We've got a club where we can meet online. So however busy we are, we can come online. I think that's just wonderful. Now let's move on to the next slide. We're on slide 4. So let's see slide 5, Willie. Participation in area, district and international events. I was at my first club for 6 months before I discovered there was another club just up the road. I'm now a member, well, I've been a member of 2 clubs in London, and I'm currently a member of 3 in Singapore. And so 6 months went past when I didn't know there was another club nearby, and I didn't realize that I could make faster progress through the manual. A lot of people try and slow you down. You need to wait 2 years to progress through it. This is all very well, but if you know that you're going to go overseas in a year's time, or that you've got some terminal illness, you don't want to hang around for 3 years to complete your manual. And you may not want to tell anybody this, but you may still be in a hurry. We seem to have lost the slides. Doesn't matter, I can carry on. What you need to do, another moment of truth, is how your club is progressing. How do you know how your club is progressing? You can go onto Toastmasters International and see how your club is progressing. Now, most of the people I'm talking to here tonight are already fairly high up in Toastmasters. If you are fairly high up in Toastmasters, you have access to seeing how all the clubs in your area are doing and keeping tabs on it. What happens is that very often people are too busy doing the simple things, such as handing out pencils, and they're not concentrating on how many DCP points they're getting, how well the club is doing. And one way you can improve on this is to have a chart which shows how each member is doing and how your club is doing. Right, now here are some more new things. You could have creative table topics. You can have a list of suggestions for people doing table topics for the first time. They can do what we do and pick numbers. They can pick objects out of a bag and talk about them. They can pick out objects which they get to keep. They could try and sell an object to other people. You can also have objects based on the theme of the evening. If it's seasonal, for example, Christmas, you could pull out Santa hat, antlers, and so on. What else can we do? Getting the agenda out in advance. A lot of people will only send the agenda out at the last moment because they're worried they haven't filled it. You can always stick in phrases such as to be arranged or to be confirmed and send out a suggested agenda, or even put on it speech number 3, opportunity, call me if you want this slot. What else can we do? We can make sure that after the meeting, the photos of the winners go onto a website such as Facebook and teach our PR people how to publicize the club. Let's move on to slide 7. We're beginning and ending on time. Now, I often hear about this. People say, apart from looking professional, when people have turned up on time, there is a certain personality type which does not like to be kept waiting. You recognize the types. They're looking at their watches and they're saying, why are we waiting? And they get quite angry. So to keep them happy, I always suggest that we should have something going on while we're waiting. We could have music, we could have a joke of the day, we could have the quote of the day, we could have a slide showing them the agenda of the evening so that visitors can look at it and see what's about to happen. Now, retaining members, one of the things is to chase members, find out why they've left, but really you need to find out before the end of the year, not suddenly chase them and say, hey, where's the money? You haven't paid for the next 6 months. You want to be finding out all the way along, how are they doing and that they're still happy. Now, once you are at the stage where most of us are, you can start projects, personal development projects, and you can form little subcommittees in your Toastmasters group to keep the senior members involved. So often what happens is senior members find that the new members are coming in and all the speeches are first-time speeches and the advanced members are getting bored. First of all, they might be pushed off the program because the new members are given priority. And secondly, they're not learning anything new. One way around this is to make sure that the old-timers are mentors for new members so that they feel valued and appreciated. And to compliment people and give them certificates at the end of the year, try and make sure that every single person in your club is given something, whether it's a certificate for the most smiley face, or the certificate for the most meetings attended, or for the most helpful person. Even if you cannot give them something for a specific role they've done, try and give them some appreciation. If you think about it, there is some contribution that every member has made, whether it's most improved, most amusing, funniest heckler, whatever you like to invent, find something. So you can display a progress chart so everybody knows exactly where you're going, and also when you get visitors from outside, make sure the Toastmaster of the day knows about them. If you put them on the program, then it's much easier for the Toastmaster of the day to be primed to welcome them. One thing which I like is, instead of having the to and fro, what shall we do? Ask the President. Mr. President, shall we do this? Yes, we will. Is to have the President and the Toastmaster of the day sitting next to each other and silently passing each other notes, so that the Toastmaster of the day appears to be making all the decisions calmly and immediately without having to consult the President, except silently with little handwritten notes. Finally, if you succeed and you get your DCP points, you've got ribbons to put on a banner, and you can use this for publicity of your club. Visitors don't know what these ribbons are all about, so you can tell them that you are a distinguished club and all the things you've done to achieve this. You don't want to say, we are the best club, because a visitor might feel you're saying, our visitor is from a so-so, not such a good club. But you can say, we are a very successful club. And that, I think, is enough for anyone to make the decision to join your club. Do we have another slide? I think we have 10, we're on to 8. Willie, if you could progress the slide. Press the slide. So to sum it up, there are many things you could do. Almost everything is online. All the instructions you need, from wearing a badge, having a welcome desk, assigning a mentor, displaying a chart, giving an introduction, and then there are the extras such as having a birthday cake and birthdays, and congratulations on everything that people have achieved. May I wish you to do well, and I'll now open it up for 2 or 3 questions if you have any questions. Back to Toastmaster of the Day to ask for the questions. I'll take questions or comments. And if there are none, I have a comment, which is it's a good idea if you're going to ask for questions to prime somebody in the audience to come up with a question. Failing all else, either the Toastmaster of the Day or the president of the club should step in with a question. And I've sat in meetings where I've seen the chairman of a club sitting making notes.
Okay,
So,
I have a question, Angela.
okay.
How do you make the meeting? What is the meeting? How you want to conduct the meeting so that people can to attend your meeting? What should your club do, or you should do as a club officer to attract people to come to your club? What is the thing that you have to do?
There are 2 different things. One is to have a theme, and the other is to have an expert. So, for example, we've just had a Christmas theme. Every month of the year, there's a suitable theme. It's Christmas, it's new beginnings, but the new beginnings isn't very visual unless you tell everybody to wear a new outfit and to be prepared to describe it. Or you could ask everyone to bring their diary and to show it. So you have something planned that everyone can do and be prepared for and be thinking about, and then have an expert in every meeting. And there's usually an expert within the club, but you can do educationals, for example, once a month. If you've got 2 meetings, you can make one of those meetings a workshop, and then you can publicize that and use it as an excuse to tell everybody online, hey, come, we've got a special meeting, a special speaker. And then if it's Christmas, then you can have holly all the way around the picture of the speaker to convey the 2 messages. That's my suggestion. If there's anyone else has any suggestions, please come in and tell us.
Angela, Panos has a question for you.
Yes?
He typed in the chat box. Can you look at the chat box? Okay, never mind. Panos, you want to ask him? I know you are.
Sure. I'll be happy to. So, from your experience, could you share with us briefly, like, your most valuable lessons learned when it comes to pulling people together, people and resources to organize meetings? Because there are time considerations, commitment considerations, financial considerations. So what can you share from your experience that will enlighten us to organize more successful meetings? Thank you, Angela.
I think what you're asking is, how can you get people to turn up? Is that the question?
This is part of the question. So if you've ever had any challenges with commitment from others, then I guess we should focus on that. But I'm picking your brain now for your experience.
Right. There are 2 things you can do. One is to have somebody to plan their whole year ahead. So you tell them that you can become a level 1 or finish your advanced manual by the end of this year. If you turn up to meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, you also try and get them in pairs, so that if somebody doesn't have a mentor or you don't have enough senior people, then you simply get 2 newcomers together as buddies and suggest that they should meet. Failing all else, get them to meet half an hour before the meeting If they're working, get them to meet for coffee after work or get them to meet at the lunchtime, and pair them up to both discuss what speech they're going to give at the next meeting and to hear each other's speeches. And then you can be available on the phone or on WhatsApp to help them with any problem they have. The best way to make people turn up is to give them a role and to make sure they've planned the role in advance, so they don't cancel coming to the meeting and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come, I haven't prepared my speech, and then they're too embarrassed to turn up. You don't want them to do that. My mentor used to come round to my house the Sunday before the meeting, the weekend before, and rehearse my speech with me. If I hadn't done it, first of all, he'd ask me to email it, and failing all else, he would just turn up and sit down with me and write the speech with me. He allowed an hour, which was enough time to write the speech, rehearse the speech, redo the speech, find a prop, and then the following week, we would both arrive. He drove me to the meeting, physically took me there, so I couldn't not turn up. He arrived, knocked on the door and said, hello, are we ready to go? So if you live near somebody, that is absolutely ideal. What does this timer mean? It says 5:30. Is that the time I've got left? Or the time I've gone over? Or the time I've used? Timer, you're on mute.
That's the time you've been using for the discussion.
Ah, okay. So is it time for me to stop now?
I'm not sure how long you requested for discussion.
Willie, how am I doing for time and regarding your program for tonight as well? Willie?
You requested, I think, 30 minutes, and you've got pretty much 30 minutes between your presentation and this discussion period now.
Right, to sum up, there is plenty of help online. Moments of Truth is a series of questions you can use in a club. And it's a way of showing people what they need to be doing. I've had people say to me, oh, I don't want to wear a badge. It's like a conference. We don't need that. If you can say to them, it's one of the criteria for getting your DCP points is to have badges, then you've got more authority. If you've any more questions, come back to me. I'd be delighted to help you. I hope this has enlightened you as to what Moments of Truth is all about and the different things you can do to improve your club. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Angela, for sharing with us Moments of Truth. I'm sure everybody learned quite a bit of Moments of Truth and can bring back to their Toastmaster Club. Now, we have the next speaker, Toastmaster Shan. Shan is an avid traveler, and she's also the district PR for her division. District PR team for her division. Today, she'll be delivering her speech titled Looking for My Funny Bone, which is from the Engaging Humor Pathway Project 1. Know your sense of humor. So let us have her evaluator, DTM Moira O'Brien, to share with us the purpose statement. DTM Moira, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The objectives of the speech are to deliver a speech that includes at least one anecdote or story intended to entertain or to bring humor into the presentation. And the time allowed for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And best of luck to Shan. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Yes, Shan, we look forward to your funny bone. Shan, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. We look forward to your.
Wait.
For
Give
your
me
funny bone.
another 2 minutes. I'm on a phone call.
Okay, sure.
Give me a while. Give me a while. Sorry, was on a call with Jackson. Okay. Okay. Can I start?
Yes.
Great. Now, my title is Looking for My Funny Bone. Frankly speaking, I am not a funny person because I'm still looking for my funny bone. Seriously, how many of you realize that you have a funny bone? Or how many realize that you don't have a funny bone? Aha, I see your hand. And Angela is smiling because you don't have a funny bone? Or you do have a funny bone? Okay. The reason why I'm attending this path is actually I want to look for my funny bone. And over the course of doing this path, I actually realized I can be funny at times, but I'm not funny most of the time. In fact, it's only 10%, yet 90% I'm too serious for my own good. That's what my friend tells me. You are very serious. You need to let loose and leave. Let loose and leave? What does that mean? In a way, it means you only live once. That's what my friend tells me. So you have to let loose and live. Small every day. Small every day. Is there anything that smiles about? Yup. Every day you meet customers that either you laugh at the questions they ask, or you shake your head at the questions they ask. Some of the questions, I'm not very sure whether they are first-timers traveling or they are first-timers traveling to a certain country, because there are certain questions like, if I take a bus journey from Singapore to JB, how long will it take? The next question is, from Singapore to Genting Highlands, how long does it take? In a way, the questions they ask sometimes is, are they for real? Or are they not for real? Or are they mystery shoppers trying to get you to be more, or trying to trick you into answering the survey questions that they have? Now, to get into the speech proper, allow me to introduce myself. Okay, let me get you a piece of paper, and I would like to try one thing for you. Hold on. Now I'm going to write a few words, and for the non-Chinese, this would be, now can everybody see? Okay, it didn't really see, but what I'm showing is actually two words, which means my name, Shan in Chinese, and in Chinese it actually means coral, but it can also mean mountain. So for me, I grew, yes, I grew, but I grew horizontal, I grew vertical as well. That is why my friends call me double the mountain, double the Shan. 2 mountains. Or as one of my Toastmaster friends call me, 1,000 mountains. Why is 1,000? I don't know, but it's twice the mountain for me. As for me, along with myself, I'm stuck in the middle because I have an elder brother, I have a younger brother. So often I'm stuck in the middle, and being tall in Singapore considered tall, 175 meters considered tall. We usually have set aside for the second generation as well. So my nephew, he is also about, let me see, up to my shoulders. He's almost 1.5 meters at 8 years old. 1.5 meters at 8 years old. Can you imagine that? And that reminds me, when I was primary 6, 12 years old, my classmate was 172 meters already at 12 years old. I was like, wow, 12 years old, 1.72, too tall. Now, one day, my nephew asked me, can I have a drink? The only drink I have in on hand is a non-sugar green tea drink. No sugar? No sugar green tea drink. The expression on my nephew's face was so priceless that we started laughing. He simply could not think of how did we ever make a non-sugar green tea drink. He looked around and he saw a packet of Vitagen. Guess what he asked? Papa, can I mix the Vitagen into the green tea drink to make it sweet? We all fell off the floor laughing at his question. Because to him, sugar is part of his life. No sugar, he cannot think of how it is no sugary. And we asked him, Declan, do you want to try mixing the Vitagen with the green tea drink and see whether it's sweet enough? Guess what he said? No, thank you. I will just drink my Vitagen and sit down and watch TV. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, and hopefully, through this path, I can get my funny bone, or maybe find a funny bone to tickle you off with. Thank you. Done.
Thank you, Shan, for finding your funny bone. And I also hope to find my funny bone. Now, let's have the next speaker, Toastmaster Panos Korelis. Toastmaster Panos is from Greece, and he is now embarking on his advanced manuals. Tonight, he's delivering a speech titled called Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. And this is the this is from the interpretive manual, advanced manual. And let us invite his evaluator, DTM Dennis Ham, to share with us the project objectives. Over to you, DTM Dennis.
Okay, thank you. And it's from 6 to 8 minutes long. And his project is to read poetry using effective vocal techniques to support the imagery, rhythm, meter, cadence, and rhyme of the poetry. And he is to convey the meanings and emotions of the poetry effectively done. And that is the project for Panos. Okay, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, and my evaluator and everybody in attendance. This poem was written back in 1927 by Max Ehrmann, somewhere, I believe, in Indiana, in the US. It surprises me how valuable its message is in today's world. So to me, this is part of the perennial wisdom of mankind, helping to answer those big questions that seem to always occupy our mind and our human endeavors. The poem speaks about virtue, how to pursue it, and how it can be life-changing. And to me, it has had a lasting influence because I find myself returning to this poem every now and then, that some doubt creeps into my mind and I wonder, am I going the right way in my life? Desiderata. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Panos, for that very lovely and engaging poem. To be honest, I've not read poems for a very long time. So when I heard your poem, I think there's a lot of advice from the poem, and I could connect with some parts of the poem, which I think I did. That means I have some hope. Okay, now we move on to the next person. Before we move on to our break, we are moving forward the program to have one evaluation done first. We will be having the evaluation for Toastmaster Hidran's speech, which is titled Vihi Nori from the Persuasive Manual, and we will get Toastmaster Angela Lansbury to evaluate his speech. Toastmaster Angela is a Toastmaster from Bradder Heights Advanced Toastmaster Club. She's also an area director for, I think, Division S. So let's, without much ado, let's welcome Toastmaster.
Sorry, one more speaker.
Oh,
Alicia, one more speaker.
oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. My apologies, everyone. I left out, there's another speaker before the evaluation. This speaker is Simone Yo, Toastmaster Simone Yo. And she'll be delivering a speech from the Persuasive Manual, Level 1, Topic 3 on Evaluation and Feedback. Toastmaster Simone Yo comes from Singapore, a local club in Singapore, and she's now embarking on her pathways speeches. Let us have Toastmaster Shan, her evaluator, to share with us the purpose statement of her speech project. Over to you, Toastmaster Shan. Shan. Toastmaster Shan. Is Toastmaster Shan around? Okay, I will help Toastmaster Shan to share with everyone what is the purpose statement. The purpose statement will be to present either a new speech or the same speech that incorporates some or all of the feedback received from the presentation of the first speech? So Toastmaster Simeone, you may start your speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Simeone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster, for the evening. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Right. Thank you, Toastmaster, for the evening, for the formal introduction. Well, good evening, everyone, fellow Toastmasters, and everyone around here tonight. A very warm welcome to all for a brand new year 2020, right? May you have a happy new year, happy and prosperous new year. So how is for all of you? Well, for me, yes, I do enjoy my new year, but I also had a reflection before the countdown. As per my last two speeches, the breaking the icy breaker, and also a reflection new to my speech for tonight. For the year of the 2019, how happy are you with your life? What is the level of happiness? Mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, and financially. And I'm also ask myself, am I or are we the masters of our own emotion intelligence? Or are we the creator of disasters for our own happiness? Why am I saying that? As I reflect of the activities that were with me last year, there were a couple of very interesting clients that I serve. For myself, I am the person who hit hard people, a recruiter, as well as a career coach, life coach, and I aspire for this coming year, 2020, to make a difference, to help someone in their life, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, or enjoy. But when I'm going to revisit my speech one, I recall not mentioning why my name was Simone, or you can call me C Money. That would be a nicer name because people like money in general. So I bring opportunities to people wherever I see money. So that's actually whether it's a business, whether it's a career, or something that will enhance someone's life. And surprisingly, when I did a check on my name, Simone has a very nice phrases. She who speaks, God hears. That is something very spiritual. What about Theresia? Theresia is my second name. Theresia has appeared in the Bible 735 times. In the Bible, the foundation of God's word. Well, my name actually spiritual, and it just came, from somewhere, not given by my parents, but was given by someone. And that's brought me to where I am, being very spiritually aligned, and able to help people. That's where I'm looking forward to become a professional myself, being a consultant to someone, a counselor to someone, helping someone's life. And of course, I'd like to share some story which I wasn't able to share in my last two speeches, perhaps short of time. I have helped two scenarios. And the first one was a guy, I would say his name is Rick. He came to me unemployed, financially stressed out. And I'm happy that I was able to help him to find a job. After he got a job, he had so many challenges, he's wanted to quit most of the time. And I've been, encouraging, coaching him, to carry on with life action from the day one to where he was then, to enjoy his journey in career. And also, thereafter, I had 2 other very interesting clients, very much related to relationship. I become a relationship and marital counselor or a coach to help 2 couples struggling in the verge of separation and undergoing some divorce cases. To the date, they had not yet, but still in a separation mode, and it takes a lot of time to ready to patch up. So at the end of the day, I was just saying, what's happened to both of them? My final conclusion, why a person is not happy? Well, including the person, Rick himself, the number one issue was perhaps the person has a very big ego, and the ego affects the relationship in their home, at work as well. So because of this emotional instability, it creates so much problem. So a master of relationship, or you create your own disasters and you do not find your own happiness due to the way, your attitude, how you treat people, even including the marriage. Consider 3 couples, including Rick himself. They were struggling with the marriage last year. And there's many challenges they are still facing, and take some time to really sort them out. So at the end, I do hope marriage, to have a really happy marriage in a relationship, one really has to make a lot of changes to oneself, lower their ego, and harmonize the relationship. That would be a better start for the year 2020. So back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Simone, for your speech. And now back to, we'll just have one evaluation done because of some changes in the program. We'll have the evaluation done for Toastmaster Hidren's earlier speech on veganery from his persuasive manual, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Angela Lansbury. Toastmaster Angela Lansbury comes from Brother Heights Advanced Toastmaster Club in Singapore. And she, at the same time, she's also a president of the club, as well as the area director of one of the Division S in Singapore. Now let us invite Toastmaster Angela Lansbury to do her evaluation, deliver her evaluation on Hidren's speech. Toastmaster Angela, over to you.
Unmute. There we are. Well, very warm welcome to everybody, especially to Hiren. I loved the speech. I loved everything about it. It was very topical, obviously, January. And being vegan is very much an issue nowadays. The environment is an issue. Health is another issue. And it's something that we all care about, our own health, and we all care about the environment. So for number 1, it was topical. Number 2, it was relevant to the audience. Number 3, absolutely wonderful slides. They were attention-getting. They had pictures on everyone, and they were very colourful. Finally, I thought it was extremely amusing to compare humans in like sardines in a train to cattle or fish, and to show a picture of them. I thought that was very well done. Now let me give some suggestions which I hope might be helpful, as I'm sure this lovely project will be shown again and again. My first suggestion is that the speaker should explain the difference between vegan and vegetarian. I know the difference, but if you're going to speak to a very large audience, there are going to be some people who are confused about the difference. Secondly, I thought perhaps you could have had the cattle and the fish on different slides, because most people haven't any idea that fish in a fish farm would be crammed together. So it might be helpful to draw attention to that. Then language. How would it be if someone locks you? That sentence wasn't quite right. My version of it is, how would it be if someone were to lock you up? I suggest you run the sentence through Grammarly, grammarly.com, Grammarly.com, which solves all your grammar problems and checks the text of every slide. If you can't do it in your text in PowerPoint or whatever you're showing your slides in, then copy the text into some other place where you can try out Grammarly on the text, and then put the corrected text back onto the slide. How do you feel happy should be, would you feel happy? And the assumption that I've never thought about being vegan doesn't apply in my case, because we talk about it nearly every day. And I thought about it since I was about 7 years old and first discovered that you had to kill the meat that you eat, and it didn't come up square in little packets like it appears in the supermarket. I shall end with some more good points. Some of the language that I particularly liked were the words sliced and diced. And I like the call to action. I like the fact that we weren't asked to be totally vegan, but just to pick one meal. And I like the way that we all voted on it. And I would like to have a comment on, well, that's everyone has voted, or I've got at least half, or well, I've got one person, and one person is one success. I also like the suggestion of the fact that a complete silence means one or two things. So the speaker was prepared to get silence when the speaker asked a question. All in all, to repeat what I said at the beginning, it was an excellent speech. It was a topical subject. It related to all of us. Brilliant, colourful slides, and lots of interaction with the audience. Very well done. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Angela, Toastmaster Angela, for that comprehensive evaluation. I'm sure everybody wants and is eager to go for a break so that we can come back for our third segment, the evaluation segment. Now, the time now is 11:50, so we have a 10 minutes break, and please come back at 12 midnight Singapore time. 10 minutes.
The reason why Welcome back, Toastmasters and guests, to the final segment of our program tonight. This morning. And the final segment is our evaluation segment, the better thinking segment, or the better listening segment. where we have our skillful evaluators to evaluate on the delivered speeches. Now let us have the first evaluator, Toastmaster Hidran, who will be evaluating on Toastmaster Paul Mooney's speech on his icebreaker speech, Comedic Inspirations. Toastmaster Hidran is now currently residing in UK, and he's embarking on his advanced manuals. So let me pass the baton over to Toastmaster Hidran. Over to you, Toastmaster Hidran.
Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guest, and specifically Paul. So it's a pleasure to do your first evaluation as you embark on your journey of pathways. And the title of your speech, which is comedic inspirational speech, I will just pick up the first letters of that and provide my evaluation, which is C, I, and S. C for you stand for comedic, for me would stand of the things that I found commendable. So that's the C part of your speech. And when you delivered your speech, we really enjoyed the history of comedy which you provided, the detailing and the subject matter expertise on the comedic subject that you brought in. Also, what I found good in your speech is that you were well researched with the history. So you had done your study in terms of the comedic inspiration that you found in the 70s and the 80s, and not across in the continent that where you stay. So it's not Australia alone, but countries like US, UK that you referenced in. So it showed that you had a well researched on the subject, and that for me is the first step for a successful speech, because it showed that the speaker had done the evaluation. What I also liked in your speech, which you provided, was the entire science of humor and what goes behind. So humor is not just laughing and not being funny, but the science of humor. Coming to the second part of the inspiration, or I, which I say the things you could improve. So I suppose the content can be slightly more funny. A humorous speech without laughter is, like having a burger without a sauce. It just cannot, it's not imaginable at all. So probably some laughter and funny moments can be built into the humorous speech. And finally, the last stage, which is comedic inspiration speech. And there I would say, how do you springboard yourself? That's the S that I bring in. And I would say blend the content with little bit of jokes, little bit of laughter, and little bit of examples, including Toastmaster, because the most important pillar in Toastmaster is humorous speech. So you could bring in that and let it make the speech more humorous and add a little more flavor to it. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Hidran, Toastmaster Hidran, for that wonderful evaluation of Toastmaster Paul Mooney's speech. Let us now move on to the third evaluator, Toastmaster Panos, who will be evaluating on Toastmaster Willie's speech.
Yes.
Toastmaster Panos.
Yes.
Comes from Chiang Mai, and he's the Chiang Mai Toastmaster Club president from Lampun South of Chiang Mai, Thailand. So without much ado, let's invite Toastmaster Tanu to evaluate on Toastmaster Willie's prepared speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Tanu.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the morning. It's morning already in Singapore, right? But in Thailand, we still have 1 hour. And today is my pleasure to give the evaluation to my friend Willie for his speech. It is about the unfamiliar topic, to research the topic and present to the audience is very unfamiliar to me, the topic. Do we have too many Toastmasters Club in each town in Singapore? Why I say so? Because in Thailand and in other countries, in District 97, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, yes, 5 countries, we should have. Do we have too few Toastmasters Club in each country? So that is familiar to me. I don't know what's the problem. You have too many clubs in each town in Singapore. So that is exactly unfamiliar to me. First, I hear only your voice and I see only your screen, the slide. And I realize after that it's my fault. You have your video on the little screen. I should have scrolled down. And you come up, you open your speech with the slides, a few slides before you spoke. So that would be my recommendation, that if you can speak at the opening and then you can show your slide later, it might be better. Because at the opening, it seemed to me that you are preparing something. And that is what I would like to recommend. So opening your speech by grab the attention of the audience would be better. And the organization of your speech in the main part, I would like to see what we call the pro and con in your main part of your speech. I mean, what is the advantage of having too many clubs, and what is disadvantage of having too many clubs? And then at the closing, you summarize your suggestion that I have seen in your slide, that you should have more clubs in other languages, right? Because Singapore is a multicultural country. So in my point of view, the structure of your organization is to be modified. I mean, opening, body, and the closing. Make the opening stronger and the closing stronger. The rest, you did a good job, my friend. Really, you did a good job. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Panos, for evaluating Toastmaster Willy's speech. Indeed, he had done a lot of research, and then we just need to have a better introduction and a conclusion. Now, next, we have the next evaluator, DTM Toastmaster Moira O'Brien, who will be evaluating on Shan's speech, Looking for My Funny Bone. Just give me a minute.
Madam.
Before you start, I would like to introduce you.
Okay.
DTM Moira is a member of Firebird's collective and 2 bricks and mortar clubs in Ireland, and a videographer, B&B owner, podcaster with a talk show for talkers on irishtalkers.com. So without much ado, let's welcome DTM Moira. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, for that nice opening. I grew tall and wide. Okay, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and especially Shan. Humour for the unhumorous is very difficult. Shan made a brave attempt at finding his own funny bone. Now, I liked his facial presentations and the body language that I could see on screen. He has quite a relaxed way of talking, and there was a constant, sort of pleasant outlook to his smile. I think there is a slight problem with being humorous, is that we really need to see a lot more of you. So my first recommendation is that you move back from the screen so we can see all of your body language and you can really make the most of it. And that would have improved your speech, I think, quite a lot. Now, I was slightly unsure as to what the second one would be, but I think it comes down to preparation. We had quite a break in the delivery where you had to find that bit of paper and write the name down. Then you presented it to us, and because of your green screen, we couldn't actually see anything on the bit of paper. So we lost the joke there. We lost it. It wasn't funny. So that's down to preparation and being ready for that before you actually start your presentation. But what I enjoyed most about this was the effort that Shan put in to make a funny story, and the fact that he did use storytelling. And storytelling, as we know, is the basic thing that we learn when we're knee-high to our mother's skirts. You know, storytelling is the primeval thing that we really love. So the fact to use storytelling to do it, even though I know it was called for in the description, but it certainly worked well. So in summary, Shan, move back. Make sure you get your preparation in beforehand. But it was great body language. I loved your facial expressions and loved the storytelling. So thank you very much, Shan, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, DTM Moira, for that very good evaluation for Shan's speech. Looking for my funny bone. Next up, we have another evaluator, DTM Dennis Ham, who will be evaluating on Toastmaster Panos Korelis speech titled Desiderata. So that DTM Dennis Ham comes from United States of America, and I believe he was a district governor for Toastmaster USA. I'm not sure when was that, but I know he was a district governor. So without much ado, let's welcome DTM Dennis Ham to deliver his evaluation on Toastmaster Panos' speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Dennis.
Okay, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm having trouble with my computer, so I'm on my phone right now. But Panos, I enjoyed your presentation. This is the second presentation that you've given about using or trying to interpret poetry. And I thought you did a good job there. The beginning was, let me start with the beginning of your presentation though. I would recommend that you would have given the introduction of your poetry to the Toastmaster so that she could have introduced you and saved you about a minute. It took you about a minute to help set the stage for yourself. And it would have been better if you had given the information to Alicia so that she could have set up the program for you, and then you could have launched right into the presentation, or maybe given another, maybe a sentence or two just to let people know how you felt about the poetry that you were about to deliver, and then launch right in. You had good camera position so that we could see you, and we could see the gestures that you had. They were good and appropriate. One of the things that you were to do was to phrase and work on the rhyming of the presentation of the poetry, and for the most part it was pretty good. You did have pretty good phrasing. You had paused. One thing that I would suggest is that you would increase maybe the volume in certain words to emphasize key words, and then drop the volume back down, so that it was, besides just the phrasing of the presentation by the length of each phrase, you would also increase and lower the volume to also add to the rhythm and the melodic sound of the poetry that you're about to deliver. For the most part, I said you did very well. I enjoyed it. I think you improved a little bit over your last presentation. So I would encourage you to continue working on presenting and interpreting poetry. Just add a little bit more emphasis on keywords to help punctuate the poetry a little bit more, also besides the phrasing and the pauses that you do. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, DTM Dennis Ham, for providing the evaluation for Panos, Toastmaster Panos. Now, we come to the last evaluator, Toastmaster Samon Sakut. This Toastmaster is from Thailand Toastmaster Online Club. And we're so happy to invite him to evaluate Toastmaster Samon Yo's speech from the Persuasive Influence Pathway, Level 1, Project 3. So over to you, Toastmaster Samon.
Thank you, Alicia, for your introduce me. Actually, I went into the speech, during the middle of the speech, so I cannot hear the whole speech. So I will evaluate as my opinion just in the middle of the speech. I like your speech. I like your speech because you have a very clear voice and I can hear you well, and also you can tell your story, and I think it's very clear for your voice and especially for your pronunciation. I like also your smiling, your wonderful picture, and something that in the middle I cannot catch up some of your story well, including your picture, some picture that is in when you use camera and the light in your room. I think it should be improved some light, so it will be light more light in your face. And actually, I think the conclusion also, if you can have your conclusion more stronger, more have your call to action, for example, so everybody can take that story to go into your story. And lastly, I would like you also, because I cannot follow you as the whole story, so I would like to hear from your perspective, from your idea, what do you think about your second speech? Okay, please, please say something about yourself of your second speech this morning.
My second speech, that was reflections done the previous week, just before the countdown. It was quite a lengthy one, so I had to cut short because of the time. And of course, for this session, the session 1, session 2, there's some part that I did not cover, so I put it into this session to make it a little bit newer and fresh. And of course, add the personal story, which I did not wasn't able to portray it or to explain it in the last 2 sessions. So I put everything all in there, like it is just to add up the details.
Yes, thank you very much for your summarize your speech also, and I think congratulations for your completion or your project. Looking forward to seeing your next speech soon. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saman from Thailand, for helping us.
We sound similar.
Simone.
Yeah, Simone sounds the same with the double S.
Yes, yes, correct. That's why there's faith for him to evaluate you. Anyway, my apologies, I missed out the evaluation for Toastmaster Angela Lansbury's speech on Successful Club series. Now for her speech, we will have a round robin evaluation, meaning that we'll have 3 Toastmasters to evaluate her. So who would like to evaluate Toastmaster Angela's speech? Lily, do you want to evaluate her? How about Toastmaster Jennifer?
Okay, let me try. So I will be the first evaluator for her. Yes, I think she did a very good job because she used her own experience to explain the moment of truth. Not only she present according to the slide, but she add her own experience, and that is the strong point, I believe. Good job for the her club president position to conduct this. Yes, that is my opinion.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tano. Can we have another evaluator?
I'll go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Toastmaster DTM Dennis Ham.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed Angela's presentation in that she was trying to give a PowerPoint presentation and she added more to the PowerPoint. So that's pretty much what our first evaluator said, was that when you give a PowerPoint presentation, you just don't read the screen word for word and bore people to death. You do add more information to the presentation by putting in personal feelings and examples that you have. So that was very good then that she did that, because PowerPoints can be really bad. The one thing that I would suggest though is when you use a PowerPoint and when you have so many screens, I would suggest that you estimate the amount of time that you have by counting the number of slides and then figuring out you might take 2 or 3 minutes or maybe 4 minutes max per screen. And then if you multiply that out, you can get an idea of how long your overall presentation will take. So I would suggest that for future reference so that you can better estimate the amount of time that you need for your PowerPoint presentation. And that's all I have.
Okay, we have time for one more evaluator.
Panos.
Panos. Yes, thank you, and thank you, Angela, for your speech. You managed to pack a lot of content, a lot of useful information for us in this half an hour that you had, which highlights the importance of many parts for achieving success in meetings. So you might, like a successful club might be good on one part, but the rest of them should not be disregarded. I find that together with that the online format gives you an opportunity to ask questions in real time while you're giving your presentation. What I mean is, I mean to challenge you to take advantage of the chat box while you're giving your presentation. Now, I know the moment of truth in its nature is an interactive, it's a two-way process when given within a physical club. So if you were to do a similar project again, you could perhaps consider using the chat box at the same time as you're presenting so that you can be getting real-time feedback and asking questions to the club. All in all, it was very useful, and I'm glad that your presentation will be on the video archive so we can be using it in the future as a reference. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Toastmaster Panos, for evaluating Toastmaster Angela Lansbury. Okay, now, my dear members and guests, please vote for the best evaluator. Have you all voted for the best speaker? If not, please proceed to vote for the best evaluator. Thank you. Now we have only 53% of people voting. Can you please all put in your votes? Now we have the results of for the best. Can we have the results for the best prepared speech? President Willie. Okay, the best prepared speech. Let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Shan. And we have the best topic speaker. Okay, the best table topic speaker is DTM Moira. Let's give her a round of applause. And finally, can we have the best evaluator? The best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Panos. Now we have come to the end of our Toastmaster meeting for Singapore Online Toastmaster Club, and I would like to call on our and I would like to call on our President Toastmaster Willie to deliver his closing speech. President Willie.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the morning. Okay, before I close before I say my last word, I would like the guests for the non-member of the Singapore Online Club to give their feedback. So the first person that I would like to invite will be Toastmaster Moira for Firebird Connectivity Club. That's also one of my clubs also. Moira, give us your feedback of the meeting.
Really, thank you for inviting me to come to the meeting. It's always interesting to visit other clubs, and especially an online club. I had the privilege this week of giving a workshop, an evaluation workshop to one of our bricks and mortar clubs. And for the first time ever, I had an online attendee from Iraq attending that meeting, which was fantastic. And that would only have happened as a result of online meetings being allowed within Toastmasters. So I'm a great proponent of online anything. And as I say, thanks for the invitation. I enjoyed the meeting. I enjoyed the speeches and I enjoyed the evaluations. So, and the table topics. Well done, everybody. And best of luck to the club.
Toastmaster Moira, the club would like to invite you back every week. If you can attend, it will be good. Okay, the next guest will be Toastmaster Panos. This is your first visit to the Singapore online meeting. I understand that you also watch our video. So what's your experience today as an evaluator, as a guest?
Thank you very much for inviting me to Singapore Online. Yes, there is a lot of things to learn, and I really love how you manage the meeting, except one thing. It seemed to me that the meeting is too long. I believe 2 hours will be the ideal. In Thailand, we have only 1 hour, too short, and you have 3 hours. In the middle is 1 + 3 divided by 2 is 2 hours, like the physical club. But it is only my personal opinion. I mean, yeah. The rest, I think I enjoy how you use technology, the voting, and so many things you use online that I love, and I think we can learn from you, and we can apply in our club in Thailand online as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Tamo. Okay, Toastmaster Tamo. I know you came late, so just evaluate the last part of the meeting.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Toastmaster Willis, for inviting me to join Singapore Online Club today. And in my opinion, I very impressed your manage your online, because we have a lot of Toastmaster member and also guests, and also I saw that how to use the timer. So I can see that the timer from Shan, you have the screen and have very good. I think that is maybe the screen from the tool. So I will use that one in my club also. Yeah, thank you very much for your inviting me.
Okay.
And next time I would like to join again.
Okay, thank you. You are always welcome to join us every week. Okay, let us have my member Toastmaster Hero for today. Hero, what is your feedback after attending the third meeting so far?
My apologies. My apologies. So, as I said, I've been always a fan of online Toastmasters Club since I've joined. One is that for two reasons. One is, of course, the feedback, the quality of meeting that we do online, and more commendable is that members sit in the chair for 3 hours, 2.5 hours, and that shows the commitment level that people have towards this. Now I would use the word auspicious organization as Toastmasters. So that's one. The other is, this virtual meeting is a new age way of connecting and interacting. And I would just take one more minute as I talk right now, that nowadays, the speaking skills are not just stand up and speak. So we look at how is your body language, but this virtual way where you could share in presentation, you could bring in interactivity and talk, because this will increasingly increase. And I think this is the step in that direction. So really fantastic and happy to be with this family.
Thank you. Toastmaster Panos, your third meeting session as well. Your feedback. Your feedback, Panos. Toastmaster Panos.
Panos, okay. I'm mixing up Panos with Thanos, so all right.
Sorry. I speak
hello to Thailand, hello, and hello to Singapore. Well, what can I say? This is becoming a new world, a new reality for me. I can only echo a previous speaker. Like, I am becoming a great proponent of, well, nearly all things online. Because I have to tell you that before joining the meeting tonight, that I felt how much I was looking forward to it. And this is always a nice feeling, to be having fun while doing what you enjoy. This is always a nice feeling. So thank you for giving me that feeling once again tonight. And have a nice evening, all of you in Singapore. I'm still going out here in Greece because now it's 6:30, but I guess there it's like 1 in the morning.
Okay, let me open to the member. Toastmaster Dennis, what's your feedback about?
Okay, well, I tried a little different way on the timing device, trying to hold it close to the screen. I just wondered, did that work out for everybody? The only problem I have is I have a green screen, and when the light turned green, it kind of messed up for me. So I may have to change that, but I was just curious, holding my iPad closer to the screen, did that pretty much fill the screen for everybody?
Okay. Yeah, what we saw out with you after the while we stop recording. Toastmaster Symphony. Toastmaster Symphony. How you enjoy the meeting tonight? Simon. Yeah. How you enjoy the meeting tonight? Toastmaster in
Okay.
Never mind, we'll go out to Jennifer. Give us your feedback today. Other than the meeting is too long. Just the point. Something that you learned tonight. Something you don't know.
You can see I'm so tired. I'm still in my son's office at this time. And by the time I go home.
Join the table topic session.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I must say that I'm learning, having Zoom meetings, a lot of things to learn. And it's interesting to actually listen to all the speeches. But sometimes it can be a problem with the, shall I say, the result of the speeches, because sometimes, like for example, Simone, I couldn't hear a lot of
Yeah.
the speeches because of the feedback.
I
You
think
know,
my
so
internet.
so I was asking, really, is it my laptop or is it yours? So because I wasn't so sure whether it's my fault, the equipment having problem, or yours, you know, until he confirmed that he had the same problem. So sometimes, you see, while I'm talking to you, I actually hear my own feedback.
Oh, because you have a handphone on.
No,
You
but
must
I
mute one
already,
of your mic. You need to mute your phone. You need to mute your video. Let the handphone on. That's the problem. Technical issue. So you see Willie has two screens, right?
Yeah.
One is muted always. Same as Dennis. Dennis will always stand by his handphone and will always control the microphone. That's the technical advice I can give you.
okay, is it better
Yes.
now?
No, I don't
Actually, I
see.
can't hear you now.
No.
I can't even
You
hear
have echo.
myself.
You have the echo.
Yeah.
Echo is still
Yes.
on. You need to mute your handphone or something. Mute your handphone first.
No, but if I mute my handphone, I can't hear anything from the laptop.
No, that means we need to do remote control for you later. And
Okay. Shan,
Yes.
your evaluation of your evaluator tonight. Is it
Huh?
something?
I didn't really hear the evaluation.
Never mind.
I was
Alicia.
I was away, yeah.
Okay, Alicia.
Yes, what you want?
How's the week tonight as Toastmaster of the day, second time?
Okay, this time I think I did a better job. And I tried to be more professional to introduce the speakers and evaluators. And I also tried to listen into the speakers as much as I can to be a bit more spontaneous as always. I think let the people here rate me rather than rate myself, but I think I'm getting better.
Okay, thank you. Toastmaster Sita, you are hiding in the background. Toastmaster Sita, give us your feedback. Okay, she's not away. Never mind. Tiffany, how's your life tonight?
Due to some technical issue, I think my speech was really affected. I noticed that I have a lot of intermittence. My network here at home got some issue.
Okay, thank you. Angela, your feedback about the meeting tonight.
The meeting was fine, except it goes on too late for me. I covered my screen up when I started yawning, and I went and changed my nightie, and I've now covered up my nightie so I can hear. But I've got this problem that I suddenly appear huge, and I don't know what to do about it. So perhaps we'll find out during the week what the problem was, so we can solve it by next time. Anyway, Willie was during the day helping me plan my speech, but I still haven't really solved the technical issues. But I mean, it's all a challenge. I expect this time next year we'll have solved these problems.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Angela. I have just the last few words before I Singapore Online Club members and fellow Toastmasters, we are all improving. We can. It will take perfect to have a very good meeting. We all learn. We have our speaker tonight, although it's a bit rush for other people tonight. But nevertheless, we all hear the foreign speaker, a very good evaluator for overseas. We keep on doing and improve ourselves. Thank you. And I declare the meeting closed. Okay.